I prefer to be called by Chanel.
Okay, Chanel.
I'm located in Maryland, Rockville,
Okay.
and I'm familiar with you and found out about you through Dina Williams.
Okay. Well, thank you. Thank you, all of you, for joining me, and I appreciate it. I'm going to go off camera and get right into this presentation because we have a lot to cover this morning. Um, hold on one second. Was not sent to my email. I registered yesterday, so that may be why. Okay. Dana? Dana,
Yes,
can you send an email to Miss Barton? Is she
sure.
on the list? She's
I don't.
in.
Did you send me the list? I don't even see her.
Yes. Can you send me an email? Yes. Okay.
Or if she wants, we could just share the link with her under text. She
Okay.
texted. Okay.
All
Sorry
right.
about this, guys.
All right. We apologize. We're usually together here, but I'm gonna go ahead and send it to me, and we'll forward you the link. Okay? Okay, great. Thank you. All right. I'm gonna try not to get distracted, but welcome everyone. Mine, we are Government Procurement Innovators, better known as GPI. And I guess I just made a mistake because I started and not looked at her email. Hold on one second. That she sent me. Okay. You don't have Barton on your list?
No.
Okay. Yeah, I do. I just sent it to you.
Okay.
Okay. It's on that list. She's the fourth one. Okay?
Okay. Okay.
Okay. All right. Now I don't have to be distracted anymore. I talk about this time more so because of what's going on, specifically as it relates to this year, an election. And I will consistently say this president has done a lot for our community as it relates to federal contract. He issued an executive order to all of the agencies at the end of 23, requiring them to increase the contract awards to economically disadvantaged businesses to 15% by fiscal year 2025. And we'll go into more depth of what SDP really means from a federal perspective. But what they've done is looked at the amount of awards that were awarded in the last fiscal year. And you can see that there was $70 billion that went to small disadvantaged businesses. The goal is to bring us up to par. I don't care how old Uncle Joe is. Uncle Joe has really been trying to at least level the playing field, what I've seen from my perspective. As we start out, I like to talk about who I am. Originally, I'm from Asheville, North Carolina. After college, I took a job up in Washington, D.C., and my first job was with an 8A company who did event planning. I ended up attaching myself to a contract that was a part of the program. part of the 8A program. I went through 6 companies on this one contract for 9 years where I decided I could start and do it myself. So in 1996, I started my first year in business. I received my first year contract. First $1 million contract. Second year, I applied into the 8A program. I received another $2 million contract. And I grew the business really quickly in 5 years, where I had almost $15 million in contracts and almost 40 employees. I had 2 business partners, and that's where the challenge began because I really didn't have a clue of what I was doing. I had a business partner who felt like he could run all of his business, personal expenses through the business. I ended up having his credit card audit. He ended up, by my assistant, he ended up taking her in the elevator and threatening her. I ended up terminating him. He then conspired with 2 employees to sue me and the other partner for sexual harassment, $125,000 in attorney fees, $100,000 to buy him out. I ended up closing the business in 2005, which really pushed me to my new passion, meaning I did not want anyone else to go through what I went through. I realized no one was training us in our community on how to manage a business on that level. So for 2 years, I volunteered as a SCORE counselor, which is a resource partner of SBA. After 2 years volunteering, ran out of money, applied for a position with SBA, and I was hired in the Philadelphia district office. That office was the office that processed all the applications for the 8A Business Development Program. How many of you have heard of the 8A program? By a show of hands, or you can say yes. Okay. And those of you who haven't, I'll go into more depth. But my position at SBA was to service the businesses once they were approved into the program. After 4 years in Philadelphia, I wanted to get closer to my home in North Carolina and relocated to this district office in Atlanta. After 3 years there, I decided there was a missing link between small businesses and businesses trying to get into this space. The missing piece for me was understanding how these agencies actually put these acquisitions together. So while I was at SBA, they required that we become certified as a contract specialist. So that gave me a different perspective on how those agencies actually put those solicitations out for you to compete. We trained more than 10,000 businesses marketing to the federal government. I'm gonna have to change this number. One of our students have won a $1 billion contract with USDA managing their assets and property. Her background was real estate, but we've had several of the students to win contracts in various industries. I've also written a book called That's Crazy, Recognize Crazy and Run. All the names have been changed to protect the innocent, but it sort of documents the challenges and things I went through in that first business. Now, what are the challenges for small businesses getting into this space? What I realized working at SBA is that people will come to our workshops, we'll tell them about our programs, and everyone leaves hyped up, and it's great information, but most people aren't sure what to do with that information. Same thing with the government agencies. A lot of them have no clue about SBA's rules and regulations and not sure how to connect the dots. And I will consistently say, unless you worked on the inside of SBA, no one understands them. Some of the barriers that tends to happen with small businesses entering into this space, understanding the government language. A lot of these agencies are assuming that you're understanding the language, the acronyms that they're using. No one understands the processes. Once you determine what certifications you're required for, or what type of documentations will SBA be looking for when you start applying into these programs? And understanding that each of these agencies work as a silo. No one is talking to each other. So that's where a lot of the confusion comes from small businesses trying to enter into this space. So based on that, I left SBA in 2015 and created this program based on lessons learned in that first business and things that I was seeing working and servicing the businesses at SBA. The first thing that I learned was you don't have to limit your business, meaning most small businesses will start their business on their skill set. After I received that first $1 million contracts, I was no longer doing events. I had employees. And as I looked at the companies that I went through and listening to my mentor who asked me, why was I pigeonholing myself? Because I started out marketing as an event planning company. And when he said that, it made sense. So what I did was end up creating divisions. I changed my business model. I had an event planning division. I had an IT division. I had a publication division. I had a database division. And once I created those divisions, I started receiving contracts in those areas because I was already using those vendors. I needed a website. I used the IT. So I think that's the biggest challenge that we have with our students coming through the program is shifting their mindset and helping them to understand that you really don't have to know anything about that contract to win it. Helping you to understand how you become a CEO. And your job as a CEO is to market the company and find the subject matter experts that are qualified to perform on those contracts. So that's what we teach you in our first module, Business Ready. Does that make sense to everyone? Yes, this will be interactive.
Yes, it does. Thank you.
The second thing is understanding in this space, collaboration is key. All of SBA's programs require you to collaborate. Their mentor protege program, these contracts, the government understands small businesses. So in our second module, we'll teach you how to collaborate. At that stage, we're the government. You have team deliverables. And we have to understand the power of us working together. It's so much easier. It's hard to do this by yourself. The third thing is you must have the infrastructure. Does anyone know what I mean by infrastructure? Anyone?
I'm assuming you mean the proper team resources, the proper financial resources to position yourself for scale.
The accounting, you heard I got sued, right? The accounting and your attorneys. Thank you, Desiree. The accountants and your attorneys. as soon as you hire your first employees or before you hire your first employee, you need to obtain employment practice liability insurance. Had I had that insurance, that would have covered my attorney fees. That would have covered the buyout I had with the partner. Most people assume when you get that general business insurance that it covers everything. People think of errors and omissions as a cover. And it is a cover, but it's a coverage to cover you on the outside. The employment practice liability insurance will cover you internally. So when you look at the federal government, does anyone know when the government's fiscal year starts and ends? Anyone have any idea? Y'all can work with me this morning. Talk to me.
October the 1st.
October the 1st through September the 30th. Thank you. And so what that means for you as a small business, there's a peak time and a downtime for you to market to the government. Peak time for marketing and peak time for bidding. Because what generally happens is the government will operate on what they call a continuing resolution, meaning they have a limited budget. I know you all hear on the news, the government's getting ready to shut down, they need to pass the budget. In our community, we really don't know what that really means. But for me as a small business, what that means is when I want to be in front of that buyer's face, when I want to start talking to those agencies. And at the time is before they receive their money. So the budget was just passed fully last week. So most of the agencies won't receive their money probably until the middle of this month, end of April. By May, this beginning of peak bidding time. Because from May to September, they have to get rid of a whole lot of money. So at that time, I tell businesses, you're going to throw out a fishing net. Just see what's out there. Because on the federal side, it's not as much competition. And you do not have to stay in your same area to win a contract. Why federal government? Every year, the federal government have goals that are regulated by SBA. SBA keeps a scorecard of how these agencies award these contracts. 23% of contracts every year are set aside just for small businesses. 5% for women-owned, 5% for small disadvantaged businesses, 3% for 8A, service disabled, and 3% for hub zone businesses. And so what that means is the more certifications you have, the more you're helping the government achieve their goals. As an example, if the government awarded a contract to you as a small business for $100,000, but you're also a woman-owned business, that agency now gets $200,000 credit for their goals. $100,000 because you're a small business, and $100,000 because you're woman-owned. So the more certifications you have, it helps the agency meet their goals. And what you can see over here is the amount of dollars that have gone in each of these programs and where they fared as it relates to meeting those goals. So part of the strategy that we teach you was maybe target some of those agencies that did not meet their 5% goal in the Women-Owned program or the Hub Zone program. You can see how they have super exceeded the SDB goals. And I want you to, again, pay close attention to this number. 69 billion was awarded into this particular program. I also wanted you to understand what agencies were awarding these contracts under the program and how much dollars were awarded in the last fiscal year. I also wanted you to see the industries that were being awarded contracts under this program. So we kind of help you shape a business model around the money. We follow the money. Does that make sense to everybody?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
So we're going to shape up a business model based on who you know, because that's who you're selling to the government in essence. This is how we were built. This is how America brought us over here. They make money off of labor and real estate. So your goal is to find subject matter experts based on those opportunities. I also wanted to bring out this report that was issued by the Office of Inspector General. They monitor all of these agencies and how they are doing in these programs and to see if there's any deficiencies. And this is a report that's given to Congress. But what you see here is very telling. What it is showing me here, we only have at this time, and it's still hovering around the same number, 4,900 businesses in this program. Out of the 4,900 businesses in this program, 34 billion were awarded to this group. 11 billion in sole source award, and we'll talk about what sole source contracts mean. So to me, what that means is there's a whole lot of money being given to few firms that are in this program. And what I realized when I left the DMV area and when I was working in Pennsylvania, and then when I relocated here to Georgia, was that most people out of that DMV area really had no clue about government contracts based on the number of businesses that were registered in this particular program. And this program really is for minority-owned businesses. Out of that report, it demonstrated that Georgia have 172 firms. This was the position I played in at Georgia, and my caseload was around 40, which again pushed me out because what I realized servicing those businesses, out of the 40, only 4 or 5 was really winning contracts. And most of them was not winning their contract until their 4th year into the program. It is a 9-year program. But I went into this database and started pulling the numbers. And because when I started when I was doing outreach events here in Georgia, I was seeing a lot of businesses from that DMV area here at the events. And so this particular database tracks all contract awards. So when you all are looking at this pie chart, what do you all see? Does anybody see anything?
I see that 41% is going to the DC area and Maryland area. So they're all right around where the federal government is in DC area.
These are contracts that were awarded here in Georgia. All these contracts are in Georgia.
Oh, so, okay, I was looking at the little thing on the side, so
Correct?
67%,
Correct?
and then plus the 22%, it's a large majority
And
of
what,
people in Georgia, but they're from these other states that are winning the Georgia contracts.
hello? And you see 3% for Georgia.
Yeah, wow.
And so out of that 3%, that means 3% of the 172 are the only ones that are winning the contracts. So to me, that's an issue. Do y'all see an issue?
Yes, definitely.
And so when you look here at the state of Georgia, what's here? What federal agencies are here? Anybody?
CDC, CDC,
CDC? Anything else throughout the state? 5 military bases. Wherever there's a military base, regardless of your state location, there's going to be a government contract. Federal courthouse. Every state is going to have an agency within that state. So that's when I realized there was an issue. So what I would tell the businesses in Georgia that I was servicing, maybe you want to look over in Alabama, because if you look at the number of firms in Alabama, no competition. And it's the same thing in North Carolina, South Carolina, Florida. It's kind of similar. But most of that is with my Latino brothers and sisters. So we have a lot of work to do to get people mobilized into this space. And so what I also realized working at SBA is that so often they will, SBA will send you to their resource partners, and their resource partners will tell you, you're not ready to compete on a federal side. Start locally and start at your state level. That makes no sense to me, because you're competing with more people on the state and local area, whereas I don't necessarily have to be in that state to win a contract. More opportunities, less competition. I can be here in Georgia and win a contract in California. So it's helping you to expand your mind and your services, as well as not necessarily pigeonholing yourself to that location. This is the database where all the opportunities are posted. I brought up an example, this was late last year, of an opportunity when I'm trying to demonstrate to you the type of opportunities. The government, the Library of Congress needed supplies for their retail shop, right? Part of the supplies that they were looking for are these. Do I need to be a manufacturer to bid on this, someone?
No, ma'am.
Okay, no ma'am. So what would you do?
Give them a quote.
You're going to find some manufacturers
Mhm.
that deal in bulk. And then whatever their cost is, you're going to put your cost up on top of it. This is a very easy, simple product. Bid. This is the low-hanging fruit that we teach you to go after in the beginning, to get your feet wet. And the government, on all of their solicitations, are very clear in what they're looking for in your response. You just have to follow their directions. They'll tell you 2 weeks, and then they're going to tell you how they're going to grade you. So on here, when you read this statement, what are they saying? On this second paragraph, someone. Anybody have any clue what they're asking for?
Is that a reference?
Reference, at least one
Yes,
reference.
a
It says,
reference.
Okay. From you or the subcontractor. So you don't necessarily have to have, um, but they are saying you need to have at least one, reference or reference or show you've been able to manage on this volume. So I would just find somebody that work in that industry. And again, you still have to manage the process and put her experience in there. Now I'm answering the government's requirement. Does that make sense to everybody?
Yes.
Yes, it does. I have a question about
yes,
that. If you do that the first time, then does that qualify as relevant experience and then you can do it
Yes,
as a
ma'am.
prime next time?
Yes,
Okay.
ma'am. You're building up past performance on the low hanging fruit.
Okay, thank you.
Your HUD. I like HUD. Every year, the government, each agency will have a forecast, and they're going to tell you what they're forecasting to spend that year. That's outside of what's on sam.gov. I like HUD because HUD updates their forecast every month. I haven't had a chance to update this slide, but they update it every month. So what this does now is allow you to get in front of those contracts. This is a partial listing of their forecast for 2024. I like everything that says new contract. That means it's new. They're telling you if it's a small business, they're telling you the industry code, and they're also giving you the point of contact for that solicitation. They're telling you when they anticipate it being posted and when it should be awarded and the length of that particular opportunity. And then over here, you're going to see this is how you get in front of it. A new contracts. They have a retirement plaques for retirement plaques for the agency employees. So what this does, it allows me to reach out to Ms. Lawrence Wilson before this opportunity is posted and ask her how many retirement plaques do you anticipate for this specific solicitation. So that now allows me enough time to start doing the research before it's posted in June. So it's coming up with the various strategy to get into the game. How do we get in the game? First step is you self-certify in this database called SAM. I call it such a mess. It's a database that is still relatively new, but it still has a lot of bugs in it. And you can self-certify as a small business and then as a small disadvantaged business, which is a SDB. SBA requires you to apply for these programs, meaning these are your formal certification, and you have to apply and be accepted into these programs. The 8A program, again, is a business development program. The Hub Zone program is based on communities. Women-owned is just what it is, or service-disabled veterans is just what it is. For the 8A program, which is a program to my heart, because this is our pathway to really creating generational wealth. This program is primarily based on two components. You're socially and economically disadvantaged. By being in this program, it allows you to go to any federal agency and they can award a single contract up to $4 million as a sole source, which is non-competition. Did y'all hear me? Can I get an amen for the church? Because I'm getting ready to start preaching.
Amen.
amen.
So you're in this program 9 years, and you can go to any agency and you can get multiple $4 million contracts. That's how I was able to grow that business so quickly. The Hub Zone program is based on where your business is located. As long as 35% of your employees is located in a area that's designated as a hub zone and your business is located in one of those areas, you can qualify into that program. For the 8A program, previously, before the affirmative action last year, these were the qualifications for you to apply into this program. Now, this is the requirements for you to apply to meet this particular component of the program. You now have to detail how you've been discriminated against in America. And they want you to provide who, what, when, and where. But I have, again, SBA members on my team, retired, that knows the language and the lingo that they're looking for. The other component of this is the economic net worth. Your net worth cannot exceed $850,000 minus any equity in your home and any equity in your business. Do I have any real estate agents online? Okay, good. SBA is going to look at your tax returns and all of your assets. Your assets cannot exceed $6 million. So if you have any rental property, the equity in those homes will count against you. Anybody have any questions regarding this program?
Does your retirement account get factored in?
Is if you're able to activate it. If you're under 59, no.
Okay, thank you.
Anything that you can liquidate is what SBA is going to be looking for. Also, in our community, we tend to have 3 or 4 different businesses. Please don't have 3 or 4 different businesses, because what SBA now will look at is if you have revenue coming in this entity and that entity, and because we're giving you access for 9 years for sole source contracts, we want to make sure that you're committed. If you have revenue coming here and there, then that's an issue. Anything your name is attached to, SBA is going to look and see. Where's that revenue coming from? This is a protected program. They know people are trying to get in this program because of these sole source contracts. Everyone clear?
Yes.
The other component of this, which is a kept secret, because this is based on that just system. If you have a record, but you're not on probation or parole, this is another mechanism that we can change the dynamics of our community. They can start a business, apply into the program, and get into these government contracts. Most of our communities is in there based on economics anyway. So also what I tell businesses, I'm a strategist to my heart. I want you all to think about getting 18 years into this program. If you're married or you have another family member, both of you want to start a business and have one to go in and do well. And when they graduate, now they can flip that contract to that family member. And I'll give you a prime example. One of our proteges, she's doing probably about 80 million in contract. She has an Amazon contract. And now her son has been working for her for 2 years. He's a service disabled vet. She's been subcontracting to him, and that's what the strategy's been from the beginning. So now she's getting ready to graduate from the program. Now she's getting ready to flip her contracts to him. And now her 23-year-old daughter is now coming through the program as well. Do y'all understand how we keep this going? Are y'all hearing me?
Yes, we are.
Does that make
Yes.
sense to y'all? This is a game changer.
I've actually never heard that strategy, but it's very smart.
Yeah, this is how
Yes.
we take over. I came from the inside out to spill it all so that we can change the dynamics of what's happening here.
And does the time start over for the child? Like the
Yes.
9 years starts over, or do
Yes.
they have to qualify
No.
on their own?
They qualifying on their own.
Okay.
And on paper, you are separated.
Got it.
What you do behind doors is on you. But the goal is to keep it going while they have it, before they continue to chop into this program. That's why you had so much wealth up in DC. Everybody was a government contractor. That was me at 25 years old. I saw all these Black business owners doing well in this space. And I was watching and learning. Now, the HubZone program is somewhat different. There's no term limit to this program. You recertify every year. You also get the same benefits of sole source contracts and competitive bids in this program as well. The difference in this program, as opposed to the 8A program, is that the government requires that you have at least 2 businesses that are qualified to perform on that opportunity. And then they can sole source it that way. That's called the rule of 2. You also get a 10% price evaluation preference, meaning the government's going to add 10% onto someone else's cost that's outside of this program. The qualifications is your principal office must be in the hub zone, and 35% of your employees must live in the hub zone. This is the map. If you scan that map and put your address in, it's going to let you know whether or not you're located in a hub zone. I did this one with Alabama. Once you put the address in, you'll see what will come up. When I was working downtown at SBA at Peachtree, at 233 Peachtree, which is where the Marriott, the Hyatt's, Ritz-Carlton, that area was considered the hub zone. Why? There was a shelter around the corner. So every 10 years, based on the census report, determines the areas that are designated as hub zone. The women's program, this is based in 2 components. You can be economically disadvantaged and the WOSB. If you apply for this one, you're automatically WOSB. The economically disadvantaged component is the same components as the 8A program. They're basing it on your net worth. That's why I say they're slowly carving into this program. But we've got to learn the game and take advantage of it as well. Economically, I'm sorry, this is the website that you go to certify for this program. For the 8A program, it's just certified.sba. For the Hub Zone program, you have to go to another website that's under SBA Connect. That's where all the confusion is. No one understands all these different websites. It's kind of crazy to me. This program, again, is still relatively new. You can self-certify yourself by uploading all these documents that they're looking for in this database. You can go through a third party to certify you. If you're in the 8A, you can just upload your documents from the 8A into this portal, and then they'll formalize the certification. To qualify for this program, again, and most of these programs require at least 51% ownership. You cannot be in a partnership that's 50-50. Somebody has to control that business. For the 8A program, I tell people, don't come in with a partnership. I've been there before. Because you're limiting that second person's ability to really qualify into the program. That second person can, again, have their own business and qualify into the program. These are the requirements that they're looking for. When they say working full-time, doing normal working hours, that's based on the industry. If you're in the IT industry, if you're in the real estate, if you're doing janitorial, those are things that are out after hours. This program, again, I was at SBA when it became law, and we were hearing all female, all the men calling, trying to see how they can get their wives certified to manage that business to get some of these dollars in that program. The veterans programs, do I have any veterans online? Any veterans? Whatever certification I don't have, I'm going to make sure I'm going to be partnering with someone that has that certification to make sure that I can not miss out on the opportunity. So for this program, everything now is processed through SBA. It used to be processed through VA. In this program, you also get competitive and sole source contracts. It also has the Rule of Two applying to it, and you also, all the programs require that any large prime contractor that has been awarded a contract of $750,000 or more have to meet goals as a subcontractor, just as the large agencies do. So they have subcontracting plans. This program, again, since we don't have any veterans online, or if you know of some veterans, please scan this. Have them go to SBA, because now everything is processed through SBA. They do have a checklist that tells you what the qualifications they're looking for. I'm going to go into some websites. I'm a visual person, so that you can get a general idea how you transform your business in this space. I wanted to provide you with some samples. This young lady is one of my, this is my $1 billion baby. I'm so proud of her. She won a $1 billion contract with USDA yesterday for 10 years. I just Googled her. I sent her last night. She's listed as one of the top 10 Black contractors now. But what you'll see over here is her capabilities. She started with me in 2014, and she has 3 more years left. But you can see these are the service areas that she is selling to the government. She's not pigeonholing herself in one specific industry. This was my old boss. We all started at the same place. And what we do through the program is dress you up to look like everybody else, meaning everybody is doing the same thing in this space, and it's okay. You just have to dress up and look like everybody else. That's what our program is doing for you. So when you look at her areas, she called it strategic communications. This is very generic. Can you all see your skill sets in any of these areas? Anybody?
Yes, definitely.
Yes.
Yes, I do.
So here is the service that she offering with information. This is the IT. Everybody needs to have IT. As much as we are our community, we own social media, content planning. There's a contract. The government buys it. Training. I have anybody in the education field. That's where you do curriculum development.
I'm here.
Are y'all hearing me? Am I speaking to somebody this morning?
Yes,
Ms.
ma'am,
Paula, I
you
have-
are.
Absolutely.
Ms. Paula, I have a question.
Yes,
if that's all
ma'am.
right. So for those of us who have commercial experience or primarily work in the commercial space currently, how do you balance your branding and marketing when you're trying to market to both public sector and private sector? Because in the private, they want you to be more niche.
Yeah, they don't care about what you do on the private side. They just want the job done. They don't need all the details of who, what, and when. So you create a website where you have a link where you're directing your private side to that website.
Mhm.
And then you have a link on that same page for your government side. Or if you got a state contract. So you want to create your website to be able to direct it to the area that you are wanting them to look at. Does that make sense?
It does. Thank you.
Okay. So this is how we expand everybody. Everybody will be dressed up and look like the same. This is the website that I use. I don't like sam.gov because sam.gov has a lot of bugs in it and it'll give you a lot of garbage. I use this website and have used it for years when I'm looking at opportunities. So in here, if you go here, and I'm sure it's a shorter way, I click on the CBD archives and it's broken down by year and then by month. And what I say is I go in here every day and say, what is the government buying? And you can look to see what opportunities are posted. As I indicated earlier, because they have just passed the budget, this number is low. As we get closer to September, you're going to see 1,000, 2,000 opportunities posted daily. This is source of salt. This is the first step of the government's acquisition, where they're trying to determine what businesses are out here. This is also broken down by industry, by alphabet. Again, what we're training you to do in the program is match your language with the government's language. What are the services that they're looking for? And what you'll see here are the solicitations that are posted daily. So every day I can go in here and see what opportunities are being posted in my industry. It still connects back to SAM. So you can see what they're offering in social services. It has a lot of ads. This is still a private. But I always like to go here because this is a catch-all. Whatever the government doesn't know what industry it belongs in, it'll place it in here. And I'll go through here and see what types of opportunities are out here. I'll look at scientific writing services. Do I need to be a scientific writer? When I look at scientific writer, this is the industry code. And it's telling you it's automatically set aside for a total small business. And they're looking for transcription services for 5 safety committees. Hello? What does that say to you guys? I know what it says to me. You're always going to click back on Sam. So hold on. For some reason, that's not been posted. Let's see. Something may be wrong with Sam. But just looking at this description, what does this say to somebody? Does this not
That
hit
there are multiple opportunities.
This is one, but I'm just looking at this one opportunity. Does it seem complicated?
Oh, no, not at all.
They want transcription services. How will I go about looking and competing on this?
Find someone that can do it and then
Mark
put
it up.
your pricing on top of it.
I'm going to I may try to get some editors, right? Unless they want this on site, but still on site. With AI, y'all, come on. We got to learn how to use artificial intelligence.
Oh my goodness, that's
Are
amazing.
y'all, are you hearing me?
Yes, ma'am.
We got to merge the two. All right, so this is just things that are out here again every day that you can see what the government is buying. There's nothing that the government does not buy. On-site shredding. And you just find people in those areas that have the skill set. Is this making sense to someone? Yes?
Yes, it is.
Yes.
All right, this is where your tax dollars is being spent. Every time they award a contract, it's posted in this database. This is where all the dollars are posted. So even grants. I don't deal with the grants because the grants are harder. The whole purpose of going in business is to make money. And I realized that in that first business, and I created a nonprofit. Hello. So that I knew when I started making money, I could put money into that nonprofit, but I also structured it to get grants, taxes. So all of this tracks all of your dollars. So as an example, and it tracks it by state. When you go in here, and I wanted to show you a quick example of one of our students, and while she was in the class, and what types of awards that she started going after. Let me just put, so you could get a general idea of what I call silly money. This is confidence in motion management. This is a contract. This was our very first contract that she won while she was still in the program. You can see it's a 3-month contract, right? And the government needed hotel space for 3 days. She found a hotel, got the contract. The hotel's cost was $48,000. You see what her bid is, right? $104,000. She won. When you go down a little further, it tells you the description. And you look at the competition detail. What do y'all see? Right here.
Nobody else bid on it.
She was the only, no competition.
Oh, wow.
There's not enough small businesses out here competing on these contracts. This particular one, She won, this was a 5-year. This was lawn care. She's here in Georgia. You see this? The contract is in Florida, doing landscaping at this facility. She found the contractor, marked it up. Project was probably 14,000. She getting 16,000 6,000 each year out of it, just managing the project. She had a little bit more competition here, but I just wanted to expose you to the opportunities that are out here so that you don't necessarily have to pigeonhole yourself to any specific industry. I also wanted to show you our database and the whole vision that we've created here. In our database, we have almost 2,500 people that have 2,400 people that have registered or in this database. I would say about 1,500 have come in through the program. The whole goal is once you start finding opportunities, and let's say you are here in Georgia and you see an opportunity in California, you can reach out to one of the GPI community members and see if they're interested in helping you to find that potential vendor. See their resume. Our whole goal is we should never, ever have to leave home. Does that make anybody have any questions before I go into our program? Any questions?
No, ma'am.
Okay, we have the program broken down into 6 weeks modules. This whole program is based on you doing the work. Each week, you're gonna have homework and lab assignments. That's all applicable towards your business. A lot of businesses that may already be in the business for years, or you may have people just starting out. We make everyone start at the same place because it was important for me that you understand what SBA is going to be looking for in your documentation. And what you look like today, if you have an existing business, is not going to be what you look like tomorrow in this space. So after the 6 weeks, we show you how to go after those low-hanging fruit. I took all the I created templates from that first business so you don't have to reinvent the wheel. Just follow the blueprint. The blueprint has been successful. And the second module is teaching you strategy. Now that you've gotten your business registered properly in all of SBA's databases and SAM, you got your marketing materials. Now we're going to put you into team and teach you how to put these projects together. And now you're presenting to us, the trainers, on how to, it's like a capabilities briefing. We're getting you prepped for the government. The third module is all geared around the All Small Mentor Protege program. That program allows a large business to come in and mentor you. And that allows you to get access to all their resources. Financing, they can help you write these proposals. And preferably for me, I'd rather you walk in the door in the 8A program with a mentor. So I know you're walking in the door with juice. Because as I said earlier, out of my 40 businesses, only 4 or 5 was winning contracts, and they wasn't winning it until their 4th or 5th year. You only have one time to be in that program for 9 years. So I want you to take advantage of the 9 years. Your create a business plan that I've modeled from one that has been approved at SBA to get you into these programs. Because once you apply into the 8A program, you have to have a business plan. I have a template with the answers for you. Our next, actually, I didn't update this, y'all. The next cohort is going to start really April 10th, from 8 p.m. to 9:30 p.m. I have Mr. Farmer. I'm practicing what I'm teaching you guys. You want to build a team of subject matter experts that now you're selling to the government to a certain degree. But for me, it was more important that I brought in people who knew more than I do. That's what you want to have on your team. Mr. Farmer has been in this industry for 30 years with Department of Defense, all these other agencies, managing contracts that are $200 million or more. I can't take you there. I just got to a little $15 million. We have office hours to provide you with additional support on Tuesdays from 6 to 7 p.m. I'm generally in the office hours, and that's when all the cohorts come together for questions and answers. On Thursdays, from 6 to 7 p.m., for those who have challenges navigating the websites and your homework assignments, we're available there from 6 to 7 p.m. Again, you meet weekly for an hour and a half each week. The self-pace, we have a self-pace if you just want to take it at your own speed. We have 16 pre-recorded sessions. You can meet. You also have access to the office hours and the lab sessions. The difference in here is you don't necessarily are meeting the team building capacity that you're doing in the live sessions. When you complete each module, these are the assignments that you'll be completing. This is an example of the team deliverables that you all have to come together to pull out. And then we also show you how you look at and respond to RFPs. I am going to give you all a $200 discount until Monday. The price is $24.97. If you bring an additional person, that second person is $1,000. So I'm still trying to minimize the cost for you all to get this information. My overall goal is to get the government. That's the only way I'll get back in government contract is the government will give me a contract that's going to pay for you all to get this training. To me, it's bigger than all of us. It's bigger than you. This is a game changer for our children's children. And we've got to get into the game and access our money. Everybody else is understanding the process. With that being said, and I'm sorry I've gone over, does anyone have any questions?
Ms. Fowler,
I had
this is
a-
Desiree. Oh, sorry about that.
Go
This is
ahead.
Desiree. I had a quick question. So, I think that the curriculum looks great, and it seems like it's a equal mix of strategy and implementation support. But I did want to ask, after your contract ready, like, is the expectation that you're applying, you're actively pursuing awards while you're under this mentorship? I guess I want to get an idea of how many people are actually winning opportunities while in the program versus when you graduate are just are implementing what they've learned.
I've had two that have won contracts this year, that was still in the August cohort and the October cohort. This to me is still just the foundational piece. I've partnered with an attorney out of DC. Her name is Attorney Chandler. She goes through, we call it her cohort. That's like an elective bidding on steroids. She doesn't want to do what I'm doing, but she want to make sure you all are prepared when you get to her. She's an attorney by trade, but she's a technical proposal writer. And she sat in with all the big boys writing billion-dollar contracts. So she's come up with a 4-week boot camp called Bidding on Steroids, where you're submitting 10 bids within that month with her walking you through your submission. And from that Bidding on Steroids, we've had last June, she had it. And out of that cohort, they won about 20 contracts and they were getting calls back immediately within the cohort, within that month. So it's
people typically
Huh?
typically will start here and then they kind of matriculate into that next level where they're doing a full implementation of, so this is like the getting ready part.
Correct.
Okay,
Correct.
got it.
My goal is to build my own school.
Mhm.
This is just the freshman year. I'm bringing in, like yesterday, I don't know if any of you sat in on Monique's call. She just left Georgia Power. She has the insight on how to market to these corporations, bringing everybody from the inside out, and we're telling our guts so that we can impact our communities.
Mhm. And is there any, would you say that there are any prerequisites before joining this? So I imagine that everyone on the call is coming with different, resources. Some people may not have started at all. Some people may have kind of started obtaining some of this business ready stuff like the certifications, things like that. What do you recommend that the business owners have to be the most successful during the 18 weeks here?
Nothing. Because I want you to come in open and act as if you're a startup.
Mhm.
Because this is a whole new industry. And you have to treat it as a startup. You have to understand who your industry is. But I realized that SBA is people will come out, we'll tell you, go get registered in SAM, go get these certifications. Whereas in Business Ready, the very first session is you looking at the budget, understanding how the money is flowing, understanding who your congressional representatives are. Because on the inside, only time you can get an agency to react is if you have your congressman send a congressional inquiry.
Mhm.
You automatically move up the ladder.
Got it. That's helpful. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Any other questions?
Yes, Miss Paula Oyenda here. I had two or three questions at this point. So my first was around the live cohort, and there are periods where I'm seeing I'll be in a different time zone. How do you accommodate for that? Or do you just recommend the self-paced learning at that point for people that know that they may not be available through parts of the program due to time zone differences?
Everything is recorded too. I forgot to say that. So you get to go back and listen to the recordings. So if it's a different time zone, again, people, I don't expect everybody to make every section, but we do have breaks in between. I do have people from California. Everybody just adjusts for that.
Okay. My second question is around, I noticed that you had the entire list of like past students, the network. In terms of access to your services in general, like if I was say 2 years out of the program and I had an issue that I needed to consult on, either for a fee or not for a fee,
Yes.
what does your
Yes.
availability look like to these individuals?
We do have coaching services,
Okay.
and we're very customer service driven. all of our staff. People still call me after the program because, again, for me, it's about you winning. If we can get you over the hump, then we've done our job. Okay.
Thank you.
Anybody else? I always,
Yeah, I have a question.
yes, ma'am.
If you have obtained most of the things that are in the business ready, can you join at government ready? Or I know you said everyone starts at the same spot.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay,
Because you have to understand it from the beginning. Yes, this is SBA. Go get registered in SAM. Go get certified. You do all of that, then what? So this is building out. You're getting your capability statement. You're getting it based on your new business model that you're creating. Does that make sense?
yes, it does. I've just done most of that. I've done 90% of that. I'm just waiting on some of the
What have you done? What do you mean?
I've done my WOSB. I have my business license. I have the system. I have my business registered in SAM. I have already sent in my application for WOSB. And so small business, I don't know.
What is your background? What's your business?
So my business is project management. I met you the other night, Thursday night at the Pittsburgh Yards.
Mm-hmm.
So I do project management. I've been doing that. I recently retired from corporate. And so I was managing implementations, working in IT,
Okay.
IT type project management.
And so what this does over here is help you create a business model that's not just singular.
Right. Okay.
That's why you have to take that. That's what you're
Got
going
it.
to build out here. That's what you're doing in Business Ready module.
Okay.
Does that make
Understood.
sense? Huh?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. What was your takeaway? I like to always go around and get takeaway.
This information was, I put it in the chat, that it's just invaluable, such good, rich information. And as a mother of 3 adult sons, I'm like, they all have a business. And so I'm like, that information that you gave about 8A and about getting qualified for 8A and then making sure that they get qualified. So when your time runs out, then they can start. That was, I mean, man,
Yeah, that game changer. I want to be
yes,
the game
definitely.
changer for our community. Thank you.
Yes,
Ms.
thank you.
Booker, what
Very
was
good.
your takeaway?
Did you say Booker?
Yes.
Okay, yes. I had a lot of takeaways, honestly. I have been vetting different resources and consultants to help with building out the B2G arm of my business for a while. I think you have I think that you presented some innovative strategies that I have not heard in other presentations. And I can see why you have that word innovators in your business title, because yeah, these are approaches that I don't hear from every government contract consultant. I think the information was practical, but still very strategic and focused on producing results. I like that it's very results oriented. I have heard so many different things from the PTAX coaches and all these different folks, but I don't know, I just left feeling capable. So I appreciate that. And I think that the investment for the program makes it feel accessible as well. Because I've heard of some other programs that just feel a little bit inaccessible based on where we are in our business journey. So thank you.
And the problem is nobody has worked on the inside of SBA. SBA is
Mhm.
dysfunctional.
I did also want to ask you, I saw that you, in the previous slide, it said 15 to start, 15 people, I think.
Yes.
So if that number is not reached by the start date, will you push back the start date?
Yes,
Okay,
but typically we've been meeting our numbers.
okay, great.
Okay. Okay. And Dr. O, and you get to close it out. Somebody else go
So
away.
I wanted to echo the sentiments of the others on the call. I was at a DOE, Department of Energy, event on Wednesday at one of the national labs, and the SBA was there. And they did seem all over the place, not in a bad way, but it was even just like, all right, I'm a new business. Where do I really start anything from? I got a bunch of, you need to do this, but then I'm like, how do I know what I need to do first to even play in the field, right? And so for me, this sort of puts it together where it's like you need to do A, then you do B, then you do C. Something that I wanted to point out that I've come across in terms of challenges with a lot of businesses, Black-owned businesses that do this work, is around succession and exit planning. And you touched on something, right? Making it an intergenerational thing. And I think that you need to speak to that more when you have businesses that start to succeed, because many times I've done academic research with Black and Latino veteran owned businesses, small businesses, and they don't know what the next steps are for their businesses, right? However, if they had started cultivating their exit plans, kind of like this woman that you've spoken about and her son, there is a better way to keep that wealth that they've built in their families and in their communities. And so I think that is an important piece of this. I was referred to you by AO, and one of the conversations that we had was he wants to sell his business, maybe in the next 2 decades. And I said, to who? You really have to sit and think about it, because if we built up all this goodwill and we're not able to pass it on to the next generation in ways that make sense, these businesses lose traction. They lose all the momentum that has been gained. So I think that's a very important component that also needs to be highlighted more.
And that, thank you. And those of you all that want to get an extra bonus here, thank you, Dr. O. I wanted you all to get a general idea, because people don't know how to make money in this space. This is a contract that I came in second. It was a $29 million contract. In this contract, you'll see all of these are contingency hires. It's all was doing conference event. It was 24 people that I was bidding on this contract. In here, it shows the hourly rate that I'm paying each position. And each year, you get to get a raise for each of those positions. You're building that into your costs. The government also will reimburse you for any benefits you offer your employees. They know it costs you to hire those employees, so they're going to reimburse you for that cost. Here is overhead. They're going to reimburse me for some of my rent. This is where part of my salary as the owner comes in, and the partner's salary. So there's a pool that the government's going to reimburse you on. This right here is just all pass-throughs. I had a subcontractor. This was their cost. And then there's another pool of money where the government's going to reimburse me. Their part of my salary, the partner's salaries came out of there, but we also used, I needed a bookkeeper, I had to do a lot of traveling, so her salary came out of that. After it's all said and done, everything is, my salary's covered. This would have been my profit had I won that contract. This would have total 1.2 million. So that's where I'm trying to get people to understand. People just want to jump into the contract side. It's more than that. You've got to have certain systems in place. Your accounting system needs to be able to capture all of this. I don't want you to jump into stuff thinking you know and miss some stuff. That's why I really make everybody start at the same place. Does that make sense? Is this helpful to give you a general idea of how you make money in this space?
Absolutely.
Yes, that was very, very helpful.
All you're doing is finding bodies, marking up, and making sure you're executing.
Mhm.
So all of these are the templates that you're getting in the program. Most of the time, this is proprietary information. Nobody's going to give you this. I'm not going to use it ever again. That's why I included it in there. I included the personnel manual. I got sued. My personnel manual was too loose. By the time the lawsuit was over, my attorney took that personnel manual and they were signing off their life. I didn't care at that point. I didn't know enough of the business side. At 35, I started that business. By 40, I was a multimillionaire. By 45, I was like, y'all can have this. So everybody want to get to the mountaintop, but you have to understand what's in that mountaintop. All right. So that's my message for the day. And I know I've talked over, but hopefully you all have gotten it. And hopefully you'll join our community. All right.
And what is the timeline? You said the 2nd is the deadline. Is it the 2nd at midnight or the 2nd at 12 a.m.?
At midnight.
To be obtuse.
At midnight.
All right. All right. Thank you.
All right. You all have a happy Easter.
All right.
Thanks so
Same
much.
to you.
Bye-bye.
Thank
Happy
you.
Easter.
Happy
Easter.
everything. God bless
Yes.
everyone.